So today we're going to talk about fishing with power bait. A lot of people say throw your power bait away, all you do is fish and sit. But power bait is a very effective way to fish on a lot of these little lakes, South Twin, North Twin, Lava Lake, Diamond Lake. And there's different flavors of power bait. I don't know how many different, but probably on these lakes the best ones to use are chartreuse garlic. This is called salmon peach. This is corn flavored. And those would be my three top choices: rainbow garlic and spring green. And when we fish with power bait, I always use a small treble hook, size 14, 16, or 18. And I generally will start with a 16. So what we're going to do with this is tie a surgeon's loop on it. Go through twice. And that will be our leader with our size 14 hook on the bottom of it. And then we'll take our pole, our main line from our pole, and we will put a 1/8 ounce sliding weight on there. These come in 1/8, 1/4, and 1/2 ounce. And 1/8 or 1/4 would be plenty enough for you to cast any place where you're going to be fishing. We're going to thread that through. Maybe. That weight so it slides up and down our main line. Then we're going to put a bead on there. Some people like red beads. I'm not sure the color makes any difference at all to the fish. And then we're going to tie in our main line another loop. So our main line will look like this. One more connection. We'll say this is your main line going to your fishing pole, and this is your leader going to your hook. You can connect these two knots. You take the leader going to your hook and put the loop on your main line inside that loop on your leader, and when you get it tied together, it should look like a square knot. Then we're going to take our leader that's about 18 inches long, and you can use leaders that are 18 inches, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, depending on the depth of water you're fishing in. And I always talk to them at the local marina, and they'll give you some ideas on what the best length of leader is for their lake. So we're going to take the loop on our leader and put it over the loop in our main line. Thread our hook through there. And if you remember the rope, see how it looks like a square knot? We're going to tighten it up, and you're ready to go fishing with power bait. We got our slip weight on there that slides up and down. We have our bead. The reason we put a bead on there is so that the weight won't bang on this knot and cut our line right there. This is rainbow garlic. I get a little bit out of there, put it on my hand, and turn it into a nice little ball. Then I push my hook right into it. Just like that. So now the only thing we need to do is have a lake to throw this into. It's all set to go. And like I say, on the treble hooks, they come in larger sizes and smaller sizes, but I primarily use 14, 16, and 18. Now, if you're fishing with power bait, you'll see people out there throwing a big gob of it out that's about the size of a golf ball. And what that does is the fish will peck at it so it looks like they're getting bites, and they are getting bites, but the fish won't pick it up and swallow it. It's just too big of a piece of bait for them. That's why we use a small bait and a small hook. And once in a while you get into a situation where the fish are biting on your power bait, but they just won't take it at all. And you bring it up, you know you've had a bite, and you'll bring it up, and the power bait will be flat like that. And that, we call that pancaking them. They pancaked that power bait, and they picked it up and bit on it, and something made them go, just spit it out and go away. If that happens to you, go to a smaller hook. I've gone down as small as size 18 hooks, and you put a smaller piece of power bait on there, and what you're trying to do is entice that fish to swallow that hook. Now when you're fishing with power bait, you'll cast your pole out and leave a little slack line in your pole so the fish can pick it up and pull on it without feeling any resistance. You'll get more of them to swallow the hooks, and you'll catch more fish that way. Now, the other thing we do with power bait, and I don't know if it does any good or not, but I thought I brought one out here. A lot of people will take and dip their power bait in shrimp oil, which is what this is. It's the same as that. And I like Mike's, but they'll dip their power bait in shrimp oil, just like that, and it gives your bait a little extra scent. What I think it actually does, for the most part, it takes away the human scent, so that the fish will be more likely to bite. Some people like the shrimp, and some people like garlic oil. And that's what the garlic oil looks like. And there again, you just dip your bait right in it, you bring it up, and you got garlic oil. If you get it on your clothes, it smells forever. So that's one way to hook everything up. Okay, another way to do all this, and most of my equipment is fixed up this way, is you take and put your weight on there and your bead, and then get a snap swivel and tie that snap swivel onto your main line. So we'll do that real quick, maybe. And I'll use a clinch knot on that. Okay, so I tied a snap swivel on the end of my line with a clinch knot. So now my main line looks like this, with the bead, my weight, and a snap swivel. And I'll take the snap swivel, and there again, I tie up 3 tie leaders, 4 powerbait fishing or night crawler fishing. And I tie my leaders up. This has a size 14 hook and a little swivel on it. And they're tied on with either improved clinch knots or the Palomar knot. So now this is what your leader and main line look like when you're powerbait fishing. Now, I like the double loop setup for kids because once they're about 8 or 9 years old, they can tie up their own stuff and go fishing, and it's really easy for them to do. If you get all these other knots, it gets a little more difficult for a kid to figure out how to tie all these knots and have the coordination to be able to do it. But this is how I always fish with powerbait, and we do real well with it. And yes, they're right. If you fish with powerbait, you're going to sit and wait. But you know, there's nothing wrong with sitting and waiting in a lawn chair out on the side of a lake and just enjoying the sunshine and the lake and the fishing.